Good very early morning. I am a little bit sober and I'm going to start this year by reading a book about a new year. This follows Suad, who has lost her husband and is getting a little bit of a fresh start, finding her new place in the family, and also what happens when that's a little bit disrupted. So I busted out my new tea for this, which smells absolutely divine, but maybe because I got a little bit distracted by the book and setup, it tastes much blander than it smells. It's Scottish fudge, which is I don't I'm still early on. I've managed to cry through most of it, which is I find the writing a little bit dull. There's a lot of name did this, name did that. Just very like perfunctory descriptions. There was a split level apartment. Upstairs, the bedrooms were on the downstairs. The living, the kitchen, and stuff upstairs on the ground level, which is I don't think it's bad. It just doesn't feel like natural to me. But there are all these little details about grief that keep getting me. Okay, so dinner intermission, we shall say, kind of dandelioned my brain, the and it scatters. I think I'm about halfway through and I am like fully there with Suad. Like, I get it. But also, I completely get why they hate having her around. Even if, singing Ding Dong, the witch is dead as she's leaving is like real mean. It's also kind of funny. Yeah, it's continuing to do really great with these little moments about grief. There is unfortunately this little thing in the conflict with like her son's immediate family that I'm having a really bad time with, and that is, the daughter is a little bit on the chubbier side, and the mother has always been like a skinny person, and so is like denying her child food, snacks, but still like I'm not even saying this is writing it in a bad way, and like the conclusion, we haven't gotten to the conclusion yet, but it's like it's not like there's not a whole thing about it at the moment. I'm pretty sure this is going to be like one of the big arguments that gets Suad kicked out. of his house, but it's hard. So in the end, the children don't really matter in their own right, which is fine. Like I said, there's really not a lot of room in this book. It's very short, and so having them just be props in the daughter-in-law and her relationship is fine. I'm actually kind of relieved because again, I'm not great with like that stuff. It shouldn't have taken me by such surprise that the son and his wife were so awful, but it kind of did, and it shouldn't have, because obviously people who don't respect like their children's freedom are not going to respect an old person's freedom. But like, wow. Okay, apologies for the interruption yesterday. We're probably going to be interrupted today. I have finished it though, and I am a little bit disappointed. Yeah. So one thing that I'm grateful for in chapter 1 is that it started with the death, and then we kind of flashed back a little bit, and I thought, oh dear. With the brain fog being what it is, and the exhaustion and the depression, I kind of need something a little bit more linear, and it was fine. And I think it worked really well with, again, like the quick pace for the length that it is. I cried so much during the first part, like maybe even the first half, and barely at all at the end, because I think it was going to be a solid like 4 or 5, but there was just too many things at the end that I absolutely hated. Like, she comes back to her home, gets ready to like start moving on, and oh, her friend's husband has dementia, and so there's this whole thing of like, she's grateful that she just lost her husband and doesn't have to be like continually losing him, and that's all well and fair and true, but it put such a bad taste in my mouth, and I really hated it. I also hated like her apologies to her children. Like, do not get me wrong, she was a bad house guest, but like, if you look at so she wanted to do like dawn prayers out in the garden, which I understand the concern about that, but they didn't talk to her. They didn't say they were concerned about that. They locked her in the fucking house, and then they were like, oh, we think it's the coffee that's doing this, so we're going to ration her coffee. Which on one hand could have been sorted out by her like telling them, but she shouldn't have to do that. That's a private thing. And also, you're the kind of people who lock their who lock their mother, their elderly mother, in the house. This is not her fault. That family is awful. So yeah, she did have to apologise. She was nowhere near as in the wrong as the book made her out to be. And also, we stopped with the grandchildren being like, the granddaughter being denied sweets, and then at the end there's this kid who is apparently vegan, which I'm not gonna talk about that. The fact that he's skin and bones though, like, stop starving your children. What the fuck? I am glad I read it. There was enough in it that I enjoyed. It just really, 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 really did not stick the landing for me. Yeah. So that is the first book of the year, and I made sure I wasn't reading anything else while I was going through this. But now I'm free. There are some links down below. 2 interviews that I looked up on YouTube before. Listen, back when I had a French tutor, she made me listen to like French people talking, and then French people from the countryside talking, and then French people in Quebec talking, and I could not tell what the difference was in their pronunciations. I tried to listen to how people pronounce the name Suad. I just don't have that kind of sensitive an ear. I'm really sorry, but I found those two videos very interesting on their own merits, and I think they're worth a watch. So, yeah, you can find them down below, as I said. Thank you for watching. Bye.